Hello and welcome friends to another day of PYQ answer writing. I am Sarthak Singh and I have cleared the civil services exam twice, that is in 2022 and 2024, and in this lecture series I am taking up writing answers for the PYQs and using the previous year questions that UPSC has asked in the mains exam for our mains preparation. So when we write answers for PYQs, we gain certain insights as to what UPSC is asking for the exam to be written in the answer, and what is the content that is lacking with us while writing the answers. So writing a lot of previous year questions will serve your purpose to get your name into the final list, because mains exam has the most weightage and it is fairly predictable as far as the questions that are going to come, the themes that the UPSC is going to ask. Somewhere or other, UPSC has asked those themes in past years. So it is important for us to prepare our notes according to the requirements of the UPSC exam, according to the requirements of the previous year questions. So I am Sarthak Singh and we will be doing live answer writing. Those of you who wish to get their answers evaluated can send their answers on this mobile number 98878 Please note down this number. You can send your answers to me. We would be discussing your answers face to face and we would be suggesting you the measures for improvement as to what more can be done to get good marks. So today we are starting with the governance questions. We are going to look at 3 questions relating to governance and social justice. So let us take up the first question that we have for today. So this is the question on your screen. I request you all to please read it very carefully. Find out the core demand, find out the non-core demand, and find out the points that you would like to highlight in the answer that is to be written and what is demanded in this question. So the question is, despite consistent experiences of high growth, India still goes with the lowest indicators of human development. Examine the issues that make balanced and inclusive development elusive. So this is the question. And this question might look like a long paragraph to some of us. To some people, this might look like a long paragraph. And it is very difficult to find out what is the core demand and what is the non-core demand in such type of questions. तो आपको आंसर लिखने से पहले कोर डिमांड और नॉन कोर डिमांड को फिगर आउट करना पड़ेगा, so as to write the answer what is required. And as you write your answers even in your mains exam, you can use this strategy. I used to use it. When we are writing the answers for the mains question, you read the question 2-3 times, you try to gather what is being asked, and after every paragraph or after every subheading that you are writing, please go back and revisit the question again and again. When you read the question again and again, you will not beat around the bush. You would directly want to answer what is being asked. So for example, in this question, despite consistent experiences of high growth. So one thing that is being highlighted here is that India is having high economic growth. And despite the experiences of high growth, India goes with the lowest indicators of human development. So कहीं ना कहीं ये बात human development की करना चाह रहा है, और क्वेश्चन ये कह रहा है कि हाई इकोनॉमिक ग्रोथ होने के बावजूद भी इंडिया में हमें लोएस्ट इंडिकेटर्स देखने को मिलते हैं ह्यूमन डेवलपमेंट के. तो ह्यूमन डेवलपमेंट इंडिकेटर्स जो हैं वो भी आपको पता होने चाहिए, जो कि डायरेक्टली मेंशन्ड है सिलेबस के अंदर. ह्यूमन रिसोर्सेज, एजुकेशन एंड हेल्थ केयर, GS2 में गवर्नेंस और सोशल जस्टिस के सिलेबस में ये चीज़ें मेंशन्ड है. तो यहाँ पर ये कह रहे हैं कि डिस्पाइट हाई ग्रोथ we are not able to get good indicators in the human development. So examine. Now this is an important word here. Examine. We have to examine the issues that make balanced and inclusive development elusive. So what is our target here? Our target is balanced and inclusive development, but it is elusive. It is running out of hands. It is not, we are not able to achieve that. So we have to examine these issues which are मेकिंग बैलेंस्ड एंड इंक्लूसिव डेवलपमेंट इल्यूसिव। अब कुछ लोग यहाँ पे क्या करते हैं, सिर्फ इश्यूज लिख के आ जाते हैं, 7-8 आपने इश्यूज लिख दिए और आपको लगा आपका 10 मार्कर जो है वो कंप्लीट हो गया। बट वी डू नॉट फोकस ऑन द टेल वर्ड और द डायरेक्टिव दैट इज गिवन इज एग्जामिन, एंड दिस एग्जामिन or the directive word, whether be it comment or critically analyze or examine or discuss, these would give a direction to your answer. These would highlight to you that what is to be stressed upon, what is the demand of the question. So in this portion we have to examine the issues that make balanced and inclusive development elusive. So now we have got hold of this question, what is the demand we have understood, and now we would be writing it. So those of you who are watching, please write it and send it to me. Then what should be our approach to the answer for introduction, body and conclusion? As soon as you read the question, you should be aware of that how you are going to introduce this answer and how you are going to conclude this answer, and what is to be written in body is to be find out from the core demand of that question that is there. So core demand is going to be addressed in the body that we are going to write and that we are going to elaborate upon, because that is being asked. So let us now move on to the structure for our answer. Intro, body and conclusion. So since intro, you can also write about that we are having a high economic growth, and you can mention some data relating to the high economic growth. First way of introducing can be data of growth or high economic growth that is being highlighted in the statement that is given along with the question. So data, I am giving you 3-4 ways of introduction, and this you can this you can use as per your needs to suit the requirements of the question that is being asked by the UPSC. We can also highlight about inclusive development. So some of you can also write the definition of inclusive development. So the question had inclusive and balanced development as keyword. So inclusive development का भी meaning आप elaborate कर सकते हैं इस answer में. Then body, you will highlight the issues that are there. We were to examine the issues. Examine the issues that make the balanced and inclusive development elusive. We will examine the issues. First we will highlight the issues, and then we will present steps. Then we will show the steps that need to be taken for balanced development. So जो steps हैं वो भी हमें highlight करने हैं इस answer में, body में. So first subheading is going to be regarding issues, that why this development is being elusive. Then we will be having the steps that needed to be taken, and then conclusion. We can give the suggestions to have a balanced growth. We can also have a recommendations of the committee. Especially in the governance and social justice answers, you would definitely have some or other committee that has commented on the particular issue that is being asked. So please note down your recommendations in your notes. Please make short notes so that you are able to reproduce them in the exam hall. And if you have still not made any short notes for governance also, then you can use the notes that are available here. These are my governance notes, and you can also use them to find the further points for your mains answers or for your body part, or for the conclusions, the recommendations that can be written in the conclusion. So you can contact us for the 2-pager notes that I had made, that would be made available for you here. And we can also show that how to achieve the potential. Conclusion में how to achieve the full potential of India. It is again certain summary lines like whole of government approach, whole of society approach that we had discussed yesterday. So हम कैसे achieve full potential कर सकते हैं वो भी आप highlight कर सकते हैं अपने conclusion में. So introduction we can highlight that we are 134th in the Human Development Index ranking. So if you know this data, you should be having this data in your notes that we are 124th in the Human Development Index ranking, and you can begin with this data, your introduction. Then your body should have the keywords like jobless growth. Jobless growth is there, that is why jobs are not being produced, and there is lack of balanced development. So since you can also begin by highlighting the India's GDP growth rate at independence, that is 1947 and 2024. So you can highlight this. You can show it, the growth of development has increased, and you can show this in a bar graph in a small corner along with your introduction. This will give you some more extra points in the answer, some more extra marks in your mains answer, and these are the things that you will have to do, and these are the things that we would be learning with the PYQ ACE program that we are doing here. So in case you wish to have detailed discussion on each and every previous year question, you are welcome to start studying with the previous year question ACE program, PYQ ACE that we are doing. Then what else to be written in the introduction? You can highlight the findings of the Human Development Report, that in the Human Development Index we have this ranks 134 or whatever the latest rankings are there, 130 as per the Human Development Report 2025. So आप latest rankings highlight कर सकते हैं that we have the ranks of 130 as per the Human Development Report 2025. So this was the old data when I wrote 134. So this way you can add, and you can highlight that we are in the medium development category. We are in the medium development category. So this you can highlight in the introduction itself, that what the gravity of the situation that is being shown by the question, we know that is true, and that is being written in our introduction. Now coming to the body, that what are the issues that make the balanced and inclusive development elusive. Try and use the words, the keywords from the question itself while highlighting your subheadings in the body. So do this, and the issues that are there, whether be it the income inequality, or be it the rural-urban divide, or be it the job losses, or be it the low skills that the population have, or be it some security issues that make people prone to not participate in the mainstream, the security issues in certain regions of the country that make the development elusive. Then you can highlight the issues of healthcare, because we are not able to make healthy citizens. Healthcare data, you can highlight that the beds as per WHO standards are less in India. Doctors as per WHO standards are less in India. You can highlight the state of education from the data from ASER reports, you can highlight. This way you will show the issues that are plaguing the balanced development of the country. Then you can also highlight the gender related issues, the gender disparity and gender related issues. Then you can also highlight the digital divide. So this way you will highlight many points that are to be written, and the way to come up with these points is to have certain templates made for the governance portion. I had the templates made with me, so that is why I was able to generate so many points in a short span of time. While writing only, I used to come up with again new points. So when we would be discussing your PYQs test face to face, I would be telling you how to make the templates. Some things I would be suggesting with you personally, because those are the things that are to be personalized, because not everyone would have the same requirement and same deficiencies in your answers. So looking at your shortcomings, looking at your answers, you would be given the tailor-made solutions. Next, the address, what we have to do is the steps that we can take. We will have to highlight a positive approach. Then yes, somebody has written very good issue of governance issues like corruption. This can be mentioned. You can also highlight the rankings in the corruption perception index. One of you who has sent the answer has written this point, so I found it very unique. And there you can also highlight the issues of agriculture distress. Agriculture is in stress, so you can highlight the low growth in the agriculture sector and the most disguised unemployment is there. So that is why we are not having a balanced development. Now what is the steps that need to be taken? Steps are need to be taken in the economic front, provision of jobs, provision of food processing industries that we need to make, and also we need to make reforms in our education sector. So education related reforms you can highlight: new education policy, reskilling, earn while you learn. It is again a previous year question that UPSC has asked. Earn while you learn. That all things we can mention. We can also suggest reforms in the healthcare sector. Healthcare sector reforms you will highlight in your answers. Then you will use certain keywords like formalization of MSMEs. Formalization of MSMEs. These keywords will come when we discuss previous year questions on a daily basis. So you will have to keep on writing again and again and practicing it at your home and send me the answer. So this way you will write keywords which will fetch you marks. You can also highlight certain governance improvements and gender empowerment initiatives. जो governance improvements है, e-Saral portal, that is of Haryana government. You can highlight that as a governance best practices. So this way your governance answers will stand out from others when you highlight this best practices from certain states. You can take up help of your friends to highlight the best practices from their states, and you can share the best practices from your state itself, or you can contact me. I will tell you the way to go about highlighting the best practices for each and every answer in the, especially in the governance, social justice, agriculture answers. We will be highlighting what a state is doing that can be replicated on a national level. And finally the conclusion, that since we do have a paradox, you suggest that paradox can be tackled by implementing the suggestions that are given above, and by also aiming for inclusive development and fostering economic growth, taking help from the international best practices. So IR also you can highlight in your answers. Take the example of countries like Sweden or Finland that have high human development index. So you will be able to write a good answer and generate variety of points in this manner. So this is a 10 marker, and this was the demand. You can also write certain sustainable development goals that we discussed yesterday. I hope by now you would have learned and remembered the numbering of the goals along with the content that is mentioned therein. So you will be able to complete this answer of 10 marker. Now if you have any doubts, you can please write in the chat box, or we would be moving on to the next question in a few minutes. Next question we look at is, the Citizens Charter is an ideal instrument of organizational transparency and accountability. So this is a question regarding Citizens Charter. Citizens Charter is directly mentioned in your syllabus in GS2 as well as in GS4. But the answer for your answer for the question on Citizens Charter in GS2 and in GS4 is going to be different. You cannot write exactly same answer in both the papers because each paper has a unique demand associated with it. The Citizens Charter is an ideal instrument of organizational transparency and accountability. So these words that are being highlighted, but it has its own limitations. Okay, now we know that there are certain limitations as well. Identify the limitations and suggest measures for greater effectiveness of the Citizens Charter. So this is a question where you do not have the demands, the core demand or the non-core demand that are hidden. This is a very direct question, and I hope every one of you who is attempting mains, who is preparing for the exam, should understand this question and be able to reach up to the demand that is being asked out of this question. So they are asking about limitations and to suggest the measures that are there for greater effectiveness of the Citizens Charter. And one statement regarding Citizens Charter, they have mentioned of organizational transparency and accountability. So you will also have to highlight organization transparency and accountability as the non-core demand of the question. But the core demand remains limitations and measures for improvement that we will be highlighting to increase the effectiveness of Citizens Charter. And again, this is a 15 marker, so you would have a higher space and greater time to write this question. So you can very well address the core and non-core demands to the entirety. So please write your answers and send them to me for the evaluation. If you have not noted down that number, it is 9887844044. So this is the number. You can please send your answers. Now let us come to the discussion on the approach answer that we should be writing for this question. It's a 15 marker and it was there in the paper in 2010-18. So it's a previous year question from 2018. Also, a lot of people, 2-3 students came a while earlier to ask me that we are discussing a few questions, but there are a many questions from 2013 to 2024 that UPSC has asked in the mains exam. So by discussing few questions or writing few questions in the previous year question A test series that is there, how can we aim to get good marks? Because we have not written every previous year question. The idea of the PYQ ACE test series is what I highlighted to him also, that if we prepare for this topic like Citizens Charter, then we would be done with any questions that come up in the Citizens Charter paper for any of the years. Once you are prepared with the topic, you can attempt the questions surrounding it. For example, once you have prepared Citizens Charter, whether the question is asked in 2018 or it gets asked in 2025, you are very much eligible to answer it. So that's why we do not have to attempt each and every question in such a greater detail. So we have highlighted certain important questions that have the probability of the themes getting repeated for 2025, and that we have included in the PYQ ACE test series that we would be doing together, and you would also be getting the face-to-face evaluation for that. So coming on to the approach answer for this, those of you who want to send can please send at the earliest. Introduction, what we are going to write is introduction. I think this red ink is not that visible. Introduction, body and conclusion. Since it has a direct demand, the limitations and the measures for improvement, that we will be highlighting in the body. Limitations and scope for improvement, the measures for improvement. So for such questions where everybody is understanding the core demands correctly, in such questions, how to create a difference from your competitors? The point of difference here would be the manner in which this answer is written, the manner in which limitations and measures are segregated into subparts, and the way in which the points are numbered. The most important point you will have to write on first and second position. Then again, measures that are there, you will have to give them numbering on the basis of the priority. What is the most useful measure that can be done, that you will write on number 1. So in these type of direct questions, there is a difference being created on the aspects on how to present, how do you present your information that you have. And for conclusion, you can conclude from the statement from Arthashastra. In governance type questions, I used to use the knowledge from the PSI or optional and certain statements of the Arthashastra or the budget or the economic survey that talks about good governance. So you can use statements. If you have made notes of budget or economic survey, you would find many such statements that can directly be used in the introduction and body of your mains answers, or even at the introduction. So starting with the explaining what is Citizens Charter. So we know that it's a public document which lists down the vision, mission and goals for a organization, for a government organization, and it also highlights the standards that are to be followed in service delivery, the grievance redressal mechanism. All of this you will be writing in the definition of Citizens Charter. So this is the basic definition which I hope every one of you is aware of. Then you can highlight certain features that is the non-core demand. Limitation and measures were asked explicitly, so we have mentioned that in the body, but you can highlight certain features that are there of the Citizens Charter. Then you can highlight that it ensures the quality of service, it ensures the timely delivery, and in this manner you can use a flow chart type representation to show the features in ensuring organizational efficiency and in upholding transparency in the governance. So the features of Citizens Charter you can highlight in this manner. Providing information, commitments that are outlined, participation by the public, participation by the civil society, ensuring oversight over government functioning, improving awareness of citizens, public service delivery, enhancing public service delivery, reducing corruption. So all of these things can be included in the features that they uphold transparency and organizational effectiveness is improved and public trust, and it also ensures public trust, and it increases the public trust in the government functioning when the government is using Citizens Charter to provide information to the public. Now what are the limitations? The limitations that are there, it is the core demand, the non-consultative process, because they are not consultative. So non-consulting the citizens. So they are not consulting the citizens. This is a limitation. So if you are not consulting the citizen who is for whom the service is being delivered, for whom the government organization is being set up, then how can we come at a good way of Citizens Charter or a good Citizens Charter to provide services? Then it is in the poor design. So the design is not good enough, or these are not available in the vernaculars for the understanding of public at large. So these are not available in the vernacular languages. Then there are poor implementation. Then there are challenges of the one size fits approach, implementation challenges, or one size fits approach, one size fits all. This is a keyword that you can use in most of your governance answers and most of your criticism of certain policies that is being asked. Then you can highlight certain lack of training, lack of review in the 6th and the 7th points. Lack of training, lack of periodic review of the charter. So in this way, the potential of the citizens charter that is there, it is unmet and we are not able to realize that potential. Next, we will write certain measures for greater effectiveness. When you are thinking about a policy like citizens charter, you can also think and you can also segregate these points in the dimensions like the limitations from point of view of beneficiary, limitation from point of view of women, limitation from point of view of administrative department. So you can use the stakeholder based approach. You can use the stakeholder based approach. We will be using and discussing this stakeholder based approach in detail in our further face to face sessions that we take regarding the mains answer writing and improving yourself on a day-to-day basis. Now measures, what are to be written? Measures for improvement they are asking. The foremost measure that you have to mention is the second ARC recommendation. Without this, your answer is incomplete and it will lack weight. So please note down the recommendations of second ARC in many government questions, in many governance, social justice, internal security, ethics, polity. There are recommendations by the Second Administrative Reforms Commission, so you will have to highlight them. Then you can show the decentralized approach that we can follow. Then that will be, we can help in the vernaculars, language, timely updation. All of these points we can mention in the measures that are needed for improvement. Periodic review, periodic assessment, consultation of public while forming the citizens charter. It is displayed at a certain place where it is visible to all. All of these points can be easily written and you will learn to write these points in the ACE test series that we are doing. So until and unless you start to write, it is no use to write the answers or to write the mains. So when you do the rigorous answer writing practice, then only you can expect to clear mains and clear the exam. So writing is very essential, and when you write your points, when you write your answers and you get them evaluated here, then I will be able to give you a credible feedback so as to what improvements are written, what improvements are to be done. So provided the publicity, coming on to the points, and make it not vague. So all of these points you can write, but make sure that you have the recommendations of second ARC mentioned in your answers. Then concluding, you can definitely conclude by certain Arthashastra statements. I will share them with you in the next face-to-face session that we have. And also you can write that in this way we would be achieving a smart governance or a good governance or smart and responsive bureaucracy we would be achieving through a effective citizens charter, or we can aim for a greatest happiness of greatest number of people when we take into account the citizens charter implementation in the truest sense. So you can use these statements that are very famous and useful statements from certain scholars. You can use these statements in the conclusion. So conclusion in a way is a way to show your creativity. There are no restriction on the way you will conclude, but there are many ways that you should include in a conclusion in your answer. For example, we have 20 questions, so not every question would be concluded in a same way. This also you will have to keep in mind. People getting higher marks show the variety of conclusions that they can write, not just key hence this happened for every question. So writing different conclusion, writing unique conclusions is also a way to get higher marks, and this is an area where your creativity can be shown. So I hope we have got this answer. If you have any doubts, you can mention them to me. Otherwise, we will move on to the next question that we have here. So next question we are going to take up, it is from a social justice perspective. That is, how far do you agree with the view that the focus on lack of availability of food as a main source of hunger takes the attention away from ineffective human development, from ineffective human policies in India? So this is the question. So this is the question. How far do you agree with the view focus on lack of availability of food as a main cause of hunger, as the main cause of hunger, as the main cause of hunger, not the source. There is some misprint here. As the main cause of hunger takes the attention away from ineffective human development policies in India. Human development. Apologies for the correction. It might have got omitted due to certain errors. How far do you agree with the view that the focus on lack of availability of food as the main source, as the main cause of hunger, takes the attention away from ineffective human development policies in India? So it is again question from 2018. That was a 15 marker. So now what is this question trying to ask and trying to know from us? So they are highlighting, it is relating to the hunger issues that are mentioned in the social justice syllabus that all of you are able to identify. So how far do you agree with the view that focus on lack of availability of food? So it is highlighting that we majorly focus on lack of availability of food as the main cause of hunger. तो जो भूखमरी का कॉज है, जो फूड नहीं मिल पाता है लोगों को, उसको हम लोग फोकस करते हैं lack of availability of the food, but it is taking the attention away from the ineffective human development policies. तो हम लोग सिर्फ इस बात पे फोकस करते हैं कि फूड ही अवेलेबल नहीं है. So we are focusing on that part, but this excessive focus or the main cause of hunger, the reason being the lack of availability of food, when we think that, we are shifting the focus away from the ineffective human development policies in India. So जो again human development का एक क्वेश्चन हमने इस सेशन की शुरुआत में देखा था, it is again asking about human development from a different perspective. So first we will have to highlight the complex, what is the complexity is being highlighted here. The complexity highlighted being here is the complexity of cause of hunger. In the introduction for this question, we will have to highlight the complexity of the cause of hunger. जो hunger का challenge है, how that is more complex, that it is not being tackled by ensuring the availability of the food, but also by the effective human development policies are also needed. This is the question, this is the demand of this question, that not just availability, lack of availability, we need to focus on the human development policies as well. So first we will highlight the complex causes of hungers. Then you would show the ineffectiveness of policy. Then you would show the ineffectiveness of policy of providing food to tackle hunger. So first you will highlight this, that how the policies are not being able to tackle the hunger, because we are solely focused on the availability of the food. Then we will highlight the approach to tackle hunger. We will use the approach to tackle hunger, or we will suggest the measures that are needed to tackle hunger. Then here we can also highlight the role of human development policies. Human development policies to tackle hunger. So this is majorly the demand of the question, that first, ineffectiveness of the policy to focus only on the availability of the food. Here when we are talking about the availability of the food only. Then we would highlight that approach that is needed to tackle hunger. क्या करें hunger से fight करने के लिए. Then we will highlight the role of human development policies, that how not just availability of the food but also human development policies are required to tackle hunger. And then finally in the conclusion you can highlight the multifaceted approach is needed. Multifaceted approach is needed to tackle hunger. This you will highlight, and you can also reiterate the point that is being shown in the question, that tackling hunger would go beyond just availability of the food. So starting you can do with a unique data point that one of you has mentioned, and which I also found interesting, and I also would have done in a similar fashion, that writing the rankings of global hunger index. India's rankings on global hunger index. We are ranked 105th in the global hunger index. So we can begin the introduction with that, which places India in a category of serious hunger nations. So serious category mein, as far as hunger is considered, we are placed. So this you can highlight in the introduction itself. Then you can show that lack of availability of the food is due to various issues. The focus on availability of the food. First you show the lack of availability of the food. Lack of availability of food. This you can show through your small arrow diagrams. You can highlight 4 or 5 points like this. In the previous question, in the previous 15 marker that we were discussing, we discussed about the features of Citizens Charter in this manner. Now you can show the reasons for lack of availability of the food, whether it be no post-harvest infrastructure, no last mile and first mile connectivity, low production of grains, no usage of technology in agriculture. So the lack of availability की पहला क्वेश्चन तो ये है कि lack of availability ही है, but that is not enough. अगर हम availability को tackle भी कर लेंगे, then also we will have hunger. This is the demand that the question is trying to show you. First you acknowledge that the lack of availability of the food is due to these reasons. Here we can write the meteorological reasons, you can write the geographical perspective, that there are certain floods or untimely rains that hamper the lack of availability. So these things you can highlight. Then you will highlight the ineffectiveness of the policies, that since the policy is ineffective, that can be due to the corruption, or that can be due to the outdated data, that can be due to the lack of coordination between different departments and different states, that can be due to the red tapes. And all of these points you will highlight, that how ineffectiveness of the policy comes up, ineffectiveness of the human development policies come up. Then you can also highlight the causes of hunger, that complex nature of hunger, corruption and leakage is complex nature. And with hunger we not only mean availability to nutrients but availability to food grains, but we also mean the availability to nutrients should also be there. So the complex nature of hunger has to be highlighted in case if you have not highlighted this in the introduction. So you can do that here, and then you can tell the approaches that are needed to tackle hunger. That first we will need to tackle poverty, we will need to improve the infrastructure, we will need to make the grains available at the affordable prices, we will need to have the one nation one ration card scheme. All these things, steps that you are highlighting, you can show that the government is taking steps to tackle hunger, whether it be welfare programs, whether it be midday meals, whether it be food fortification. You can highlight all of these programs to tackle hunger. There are certain governance measures, there are certain administrative measures, there are certain measures from the civil society. All of this you will highlight here, and the better you demarcate it based on the templates that are given, then you will be able to get higher marks in these type of questions. Then the approaches. So for approaches, we have discussed the policy reforms. You can also mention certain global best practices that I wanted to highlight. There are global best practices of Brazil. The Brazil has Form Zero program. So it eradicated hunger. You can note this down, Form Zero program. So this policy of Brazil has helped them eradicate hunger while focusing on caste reforms and the school feeding schemes. So this in a way we are trying to do, but you can mention this as a brownie point in your answer or as a global best practices, because you have to show that you are aware about the other countries, what other countries are doing to tackle hunger. You can highlight that. The approach is to tackle hunger. There we can also include certain reforms in the agriculture sector, so that the food grain that is produced, that can be stored longer, that can be produced in greater quantities, and that can be transported easily. You can also highlight the public-private partnership. Then role of human development policies, that we need to have effective implementation on the ground. Effective implementation on the ground. You will have to take whole of individual approach, not just providing him the food. You will also have to providing him education plus health care. Then only hunger would get, the problem of hunger would get eliminated when we focus on the whole of individual approach. You will have to write terms like this in order to highlight that you know some different points than what everybody else is writing. And the best way to gain such point is read newspapers, read the articles that are mentioned on the hunger, and then collect the points from them. If you have not read newspapers or not collected the points, then you can discuss them with me. I will share you what all you can write, and writing such 1 or 2 or 3 or 4 points in a single paper, in a single answer, that would provide you a boost of marks that is required to get a good score in the mains exam. So finally, we have addressed all the sub parts. Here we have highlighted the ineffectiveness of the policy. We have shown the approach to tackle hunger that India is undertaking, and we have also shown the role of human development policies in order to tackle the menace of hunger. Then we can conclude by the sustainable development goal. There is a sustainable development goals which target no hunger. You can directly mention them in the conclusion part. Then you can also highlight that tackling hunger goes beyond just the availability of the food. It needs a whole of the government approach. So you will highlight this part, and then you will show that whole of government approach is needed in order to tackle hunger. So in this way, your answer would be completed, and you would have addressed the demand of the question, you would have written points in a good amount of number, you have made headings, and you have written the introduction and conclusion. So after this point, after doing such kind of practice for each and every of your questions, you will be in a good position to attempt mains and appear for the interview. So today, let us take a pledge. We should start writing answers, and the more answers you write, more better you would get in your mains exams. And along with answer writing, you can send them to me for evaluation. We would be continuing this series on a daily basis, so you can send them to me for evaluation. And there in the PYQs test series, you also have an option of having a face-to-face evaluation in case you wish to get certain inputs from me directly. So I would be giving you a time, you would be getting a time slot, and we would be discussing your tests. So it is a good idea in your benefit that you should start writing the mains test as soon as possible. So with this, today we come to the conclusion of this session. Tomorrow again we would meet with a new set of questions. Till then, keep writing. Thank you so much. Thank you, friends.